When talking about Pauper, Aaron Forsythe said, I do question leaving absurd cards like Lotus Petal legal in a low-powered format. With Chatterstorm potentially being banned soon, what does this mean? Is Lotus Petal going with Chatterstorm? Who knows? But this thought made me think about my favorite Pauper deck, Cycle Storm. Today I am playing a Cycle Storm deck with the potential banning of Lotus Petal in mind. So about 3 months ago almost, I recorded a Pauper deck, a Cycling Storm deck without Lotus Petal featuring Metamorphose and Rite of Flame. I found issues with that deck, and I'll link it in the card above. But I found issues with that deck where you had to have an untapped Sulfur Vent or Geothermal Crevice in play on the turn that you wanted to win, or else you couldn't make red mana on your combo turn, which makes things like Chromatic Star potentially a little bit better while being an alternative to Lotus Petal, and certainly a lot cheaper as well. I know that Pauper is a budget format, and not having to buy this $20 card on Magic the Gathering Online certainly helps with that. So this is an alternative to running Lotus Petal in Cycling Storm on Magic Online, which who knows what the bans will actually be. It could be Chatterstorm, Lotus Petal, potentially even Galvanic Relay, whatever the minds at Wizards decide to do. I'll be happy storming in this format regardless. So this is my favorite Pauper deck, as I mentioned, Cycling Storm. And if you're unfamiliar with this deck, the main idea here is to abuse Reaping the Graves, one of the very few storm engines in the format that is viable. So use Reaping the Graves in conjunction with spells like Dark Ritual, Songs of the Damned in particular, since these two cards play very well together. If you're unfamiliar, Songs of the Damned adds a black mana for each creature in your graveyard. Reaping the Graves returns a whole lot of creatures from your graveyard to your hand to continue cycling. And essentially all of these cycling creatures like Drannith Healer here are just 1-mana cantrips. That's what they are. Unfortunately, they don't add Storm, but you do have things like Chromatic Star as a, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, all sorts of stuff to generate Storm. Eventually, you put a Drannith Stinger into play using the Chromatic Star to make red mana, and then you cycle a whole bunch and then deal them damage with Drannith Stinger. That's the main idea. And then you have things like Tolarian Winds to churn through your deck after you've Reaping the Grave, so you're not spending a bunch of mana cycling. You can just return those creatures, discard them, draw a whole bunch more cards, and then Mystical Teachings to get Songs of the Damned or Reaping the Graves. It's a pretty simple concept, and you can actually win with 0 cards in the library by stacking the cycling triggers. A bunch of you watch these videos and you're always confused how I kill my opponents with no library. You don't have to draw the card. So what happens is there's a cycle trigger that happens with Drannith Stinger, and then the draw. You just never let the draw resolve. So I'm sure you'll see that in this video, but just wanted to get that out of the way early. So a weakness of this deck is that it is a graveyard-centric deck. So you usually need a way of beating Graveyard Hate. Admittedly, Graveyard Hate isn't super popular right now because the best decks in the format aren't really graveyard decks. So we have Shredded Sails to blow up things like Relic or Spellbomb, and then you can continue cycling or whatever. There's also Exhume. And Exhume is interesting because, unlike Shredded Sails, it's easier to cast. We have a whole bunch of black sources in our deck, but not really that many red sources. But with Exhume, your opponent will be forced to sack the Spellbomb or Relic or whatever, or you end up with something like a Horror of the Broken Lands in play or an Imposing Vantasaur. Vantasaur is a little less threatening, but Horror of the Broken Lands can be lethal very quickly. And that's another way of playing around it, except, unlike Shredded Sails, Exhume is actually decent on the combo turn at reviving your Drannith Stingers. So it does a little bit of double duty. And then right now there's really 3 big decks in Pauper. There's Chatterstorm Combo, Fairies, and Affinity. And against Fairies, I'm sorry, I combined those words. Against Fairies, Duress and Pyroblast are must-haves. Against Affinity, I think that you probably just want to try to raise. I don't really think that you want to fight them on this axis, but who knows, maybe a couple. And then Flaring Pain is for, Prismatic Strands, things like that would prevent you from winning the game with Drannith Stinger. And you can also search for this using Mystical Teachings. And then Weather the Storm for the burn decks. And then Geothermal Crevices here is an extra red source, but also an extra green source for Weather the Storm, Shredded Sails, Pyroblast, etc. So this is the deck. This is Cycle Storm, my favorite deck in Pauper. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you do, please subscribe. It is free to do, and it helps support this channel. And if you're already subscribed, like and comment, get us into that lovely, lovely YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate that. And then we have memberships. That button is right next to the subscribe button. There's a ton of sweet benefits in there, including sideboard guides. So if you're interested in sideboard guides, make sure to check that out in the button. A little modal will pop up. It's great. If you're looking to go the extra mile, though, we do have donation decks. You can see your deck featured here at the Epic Storm. You just have to go to theepicstorm.com/donation decks, select your tier, upload your TXT, and then, let's party. We also have the epicstorm.com/shop. A ton of sweet, sweet Storm singles are located there, including Japanese foils from Modern Horizons 2, Chatterstorm, Squirrel tokens, Ave, our brand new mini token pack that I'll show you in just a second. We've got it all. Definitely head there. Okay, so I told you about that mini token pack. It is right here. For $13, you get 64 combo tokens. 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless, 20 storm tokens, 20 counters. It's lovely. A Galvanic Relay Exile token, 4 treasure tokens for Strike It Rich, and then 20 monks for our vintage friends. We have Slime Time. I told you about the Abes in the shop. Well, we have the tokens to go with them with the power and toughness already built in. Slime Time is here and it's taking over your favorite formats. I love it in Modern personally. Then we have Squirrels versus Goblins, Chatterstorm versus Empty the Warrens. We got you covered, 20 tokens of each. You're going to love it. Go check out our mini token pack at theepicstorm.com/shop. All right, that's my intro. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm ready to play this deck. It's been a while since I've actually played Cycle Storm. Hopefully it's decent. And let's go win some matches. I'll see you in match number 1. Welcome to match number 1. We're facing Albania. And we've opened up a hand with no Lotus Petal because we're not playing it. And instead, we actually have the Chromatic Star in our hand. 2 lands, which is great. We actually already have Reaping the Graves. So what we're looking for with a hand like this is we're just looking to draw Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and Songs of the Damned. We're definitely going to snap this one. Keep. So what I think is interesting about this hand is what do you start on? Like, once you have an untapped land in play, what do you do? I think that you're supposed to cycle Drannith Healer and Monstrous Carabid, because you need creatures in the graveyard in order to win. You could potentially save this Chromatic Star for the combo turn to pair with Reaping the Graves, create that additional storm count. If you play it a turn earlier, you break even, which is kind of nice, but I don't know. The storm count on the combo turn is also valuable with returning creatures. It really depends on what your draw steps end up looking like for the proper play. All right, let's go. So our opponent is on the play. They've kept their 6. And it looks like they're playing Tron. Okay, Self-Prevent was a fine draw. We're just going to pass. I'm guessing this is Tron. Tron typically plays Cave of Temptation. Okay, so they've played a Forest. I don't know if this is Tron. Okay, so it's Bogles. Bogles is a fine matchup. Although that said, we are flooding out a little bit right now. So we want to quit drawing lands. And like I mentioned, I think I want to cycle these creatures. I don't want to play the Chromatic Star too early. Okay, so there's one enchantment. There's the Ethereal Armor. Okay, so we might not be alive too long this game. Rancor. Yeah, that's some damage for sure. We're going to go to 14. We need to live through another turn, because we're not going to be able to win on our next turn. So we're looking to just stay alive a little bit longer and potentially win on the following turn. I mean, we could try to go now. I don't know if I love it, though. So if our opponent has another Ethereal Armor, we're dead. Or Ancestral Mask. They have 2 cards in hand. I don't know what I want to do here. Tough. So the problem is that next turn, we probably won't be able to cycle the Street Wraith, so maybe we do want to go now. Okay, Songs was a terrific draw. That was great. Cycle here. Another land is unfortunate. Right, I think we're just going. Let's cycle this Drannith healer. Use one of the blue. Okay. So now let's cycle the Vantasaur using a red. Another land. We're flooding a little bit here. Now we use the Chromatic Star to filter for a black, and we're going to play Songs of the Damned. Right, auto yield to that. Okay, let's cast that, and then let's cycle this Stinger. We only have Storm 2 right now, so our Storm count's not super high. Alright, let's cycle Baron more. Another Ritual's good. Cycle Baron more. Ball Ritual is a great draw. Okay, it looks like we're doing it so far. So I think I want to hang on to this songs because we only have 6 creatures in the graveyard anyway, so I don't need to cast this quite yet to return all of the creatures. And instead I can potentially get a little bit more mana out of it with some proper sequencing. So I'm going to click on these. So now we let Street Wraith happen, cycle Carabid, and we're just going to get back, or not get back, we're just keeping more creatures in our graveyard to increase the Songs of the Damned. And now we had another one, which is really good. I think I'm going to let this happen, cycle again. All right, we're getting a little bit dangerous now because we're running out of draws. So cycle here. We really needed to hit another Reaping the Graves. Okay. Cycle. All right, the Chrome Star was good. So I can return one more of these and then cycle down to 1 floating mana. Okay, I think we probably have it now. Cycle Stinger. I can't believe we're winning this turn. I thought we might were probably going to fizzle. Okay, cycle Stinger. We're at 4. Cycle. We just really need to make this songs count. Okay, so let's play Chrome Star and then add a blue. 28 cards left in library. So what we could do is Tolarian Winds and then Flashback Teachings. I wonder if that's any better. I feel like it could be. We do have 16 mana. Let's try it. Now we can play our land for turn. Cycle this. Play Chrome Star. We can keep that there. What's Teachings? We only have one more songs, but we have triple Reaping the Graves left. Storm's 15. Probably want to use that Chromatic Star for red. I'm going to get the songs. So this is going to make 14, and then we can flashback the other mystical teachings for the songs that are Reaping the Graves. And then there should be a pretty easy win from here. Okay. So now we just return a whole buttload of creatures. Just need to select them all. One by one. We have 2 Stingers. Turn 3. Cycle Storm still has it. Everyone thought it was dead, but it was just sleeping. I'm talking way too much trash for a game 1, round 1. I'm probably just going to lose every game from here on out. But at least I'll have this game in my back pocket. Alright, so let's add a red mana. Fire Stinger. And then let's cycle. I always like starting on the black cyclers because you don't have to click twice for the mana, and I just enjoy that. So for example, if I was to cycle like this healer, you have to click on the mana so it knows which mana you'd like to use, and this way you just don't have to do that. Okay, so I'm at 4, so I can only cycle one of these Street Wraiths. Ideally, I would hit some more mana here or the other Chromatic Star right there, called it. And then I can filter the star into a red, which allows me to play another Stinger. Because then I only need 8 cycles. Right? And we have 7 mana, so I will need 1 additional cycle, which can be our street rate. So we have a guaranteed kill right now. That said, there's only 13 cards left in our deck. I imagine that there's some more mana, and there's a Cabal Ritual. So we already had it locked up, but just more mana is always nice. All right, so just keep cycling. Sort of like Finding Nemo, right? Like just keep cycling, swimming. Bad joke. All right, so cycle some more creatures. And you're not going to get to see the no deck trick this game because we're going to have a couple extra cards left. But basically, you just keep this ability here on the stack and you never draw. So you keep it there and you just allow the draw spell or the draw abilities to just live and you never draw. Just like that. So we've won game number 1 over Bogles. So it's been a while since I've looked at Goldfish to see the Bogles sideboard. So let's go there. Popular decks, Pauper, and where's Bogles? Not even on the front page anymore. Jeez. Okay. Here it is. Green-white or white-green. Echoing Truth. So it doesn't look like they actually have any need for me to bring in Flaring Pain, which is what I was thinking about. Or at least this most recent list. What about Wizard's list? So I guess Hollow would be a card I care about. Target spell. But it's only 1? I guess I could board in Duress. They have a relic. I don't know. This list has 1 relic. Do I really want to board in Shredded Sails just for that? Probably not. I think our deck is probably optimized for this matchup already. I'm just going to click submit again. Okay, so this hand has the potential to be broken. We just want some more cyclers and maybe another land. I'm going to keep this. And they chose green. That's good for us. Not seeing blue is always nice. All right, and I'm just going to... I want to cycle that potentially hit more lands, but also get creatures in the graveyard for Reaping the Graves. So I don't want to play the star out first. Okay. And now this land can tap for blue if they wanted to. And they're just going to play a Bogle. I'm going to cycle here. Right, not a land, but a creature is good. Let's see if we can hit a cycler. Do I want to burn a Dark Ritual? I don't think so. I'm just going to cycle looking for a land. We missed. That said, we still get to just discard a creature, which is fine, because we want creatures in our graveyard for Songs of the Damned, Cabal Ritual Threshold, Reaping the Graves. Like, it's not the end of the world that we missed a land drop. Okay. And they're suiting up their Bogle. So we're going to fall to 16. They have 3 cards in hand. Street Wraith, let's cycle, see what we can draw into. I think we have enough to go here. We get back-to-back turn 3s. Alright, let's cycle. Another Dark Ritual. Okay, cycle this Drannith Stinger. We hit our only other untapped land. We have Threshold for Cabal Ritual, so let's cast it. I think I actually want to cycle this star. The question is, do we do blue now, potentially looking to hit, you know, Tolarian Winds, or do I just take the guaranteed red mana for the Stinger? We only have 6 creatures in the graveyard. I don't know how I feel. I think it might be better to do blue. So let's do that. Auto yield to this. Alright, so that was a little bit stinky. And I think I'm going to do the same trick we did last time, where I'm going to keep cycling with the trigger on the stack to potentially get a little bit more mana out of this Songs of the Damned. Okay. Another songs, so that's pretty good. Cycle here. Okay, cycle. And we can cycle this Drannith Healer using the black mana. I want to keep that blue mana floating. So now I'm going to use one Songs of the Damned and now cycle this. Alright, now we can take the draw off the Reaping the Graves. Cycle again. There's Tolarian Winds, which was good. Cycle again. Cycle. Okay, I'm not going to waste mana cycling Baron more. I'm just going to return this and then cycle. Okay, so we get to do a pretty cool trick that I like here. I'm going to start on the songs, play Star, because I think I want this in play. Now what we do is we cast Tolarian Winds holding priority, and then we're going to cast Reaping the Graves. And basically, we're going to get a giant one-sided Wheel of Fortune here. So let's return some cards. Wraith, our dinos, Healer, 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 Carabid, Stinger. And then we just have to click a couple. We're going to have 5 mana floating, so hopefully this is pretty good. I think we're going to draw like 13 new cards for 2 mana. 11. Okay. 12. So instead of spending a bunch of mana cycling these, Tolarian Winds is just going to do it. Look at that. Not a lot of mana in here, unfortunately, though. So something I could do is Mystical Teachings for songs. We have 1 songs, 2 songs. I just don't want to burn them if I don't have to. Let's try cycling this for blue right now. All right, no ritual off that. I think I am going to go get a songs here. Just to give me a little bit of flexibility. Right? Made 9 mana, which is okay. Could be more. And let's cycle here. We just really want to find more mana. We have 1 songs left. We need to make that one count. All right, that's a free cycle. I like that. Okay. All right, so I've gone past the point where I can go get the other songs with Mystical Teachings. I thought I would cycle a little too quickly, pretty much, because I could have guaranteed it if I didn't cycle the Carabid. So I think what we need to do now is cycle these Baron Moors. I don't really want to use the Chromatic Stars because they're negative mana. So I think I'm going to use Baron Moors. So I probably misplayed that a tiny bit. Yeah. You do have a bunch of mana left in the deck. 1 Dark Ritual, 3 Cabal Ritual, so, and then the songs itself. So we have 5 hits out of 15 cards. I think that's pretty reasonable cycle. Okay, let's cycle the Healer. Cabal Ritual is great. Okay. So I think I'm going to take the guaranteed songs here. Let's add a blue. Noble Teachings. Get the songs. All right, 16 mana. So I do need to make red with this Chromatic Star, because that's how we win the game. And let's Reaping the Graves. Alright, so we definitely want Stingers. And then I want these Street Wraiths because they cycle for free, which is going to be pretty important on this combo turn. I wasn't sure if I had enough, so I started from the bottom because that's how I knew. I knew where the street rates were. So basically, I just didn't want to get all the way to the bottom and not have a high enough storm count. Okay. Reaping the Graves. Now we cast Stinger, 10 black mana floating. Our opponent's at 20, so we're going to need a little bit more gas. So let's cycle these street rates to start off because they don't require mana. And yes, I'll take the draw. Slide this over so I can see if we hit the other star, because I think we have 1 star left. No! I've used all 4 stars. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make enough mana here to win the game. Let's find out. Okay. So I really need those other rituals to do some heavy lifting here. This other Street Wraith is pretty much a blank. I can't cycle it. Yeah, I'm just going to have to see how much mana we can make and get lucky. So there's 12. Basically, every mana is a point of damage here. Another Cabal Ritual. That's 14. So now we just need 1 more ritual in our last 5. And I think we do have another piece of mana in there. Okay, well, that's not it. Cycle. Take the draw. Alright, and that Dark Ritual represents the win. I'm going to turn off auto yields right now, just so that way I don't accidentally deck myself. Keep that on. Alright, cycle this. What's the, so we're going to have 1 more card after this cycle. Okay, and now we can't let any of the draws happen. So we have 11 mana. We just need to cycle the creatures. Don't draw any additional cards. Okay, so we got it from here. I played a little bit sloppy in the middle there, but fortunately I didn't get punished. So just putting the draws on the stack, cycling our way through. Do 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 do. Yeah, just dealing damage 1 cycle at a time. Just killing our opponent with dinosaurs and, you know, healers. Classic Pauper combo. Okay. And that is match number 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, stick around for match number 2. There will be plenty more Cycling Storm for you to enjoy. Stick around. I already said that, but don't go anywhere. Okay, match number 2, and we are on the play. Let's get it. Yeah, I think that this is probably a keep. And you do see a little bit of the awkwardness with Chromatic Star in these games already, where we've had to discard instead of just playing a free artifact. This could be one of those situations if we're not fortunate enough to hit land number 2, but we'll worry about it when that bridge, when we have to cross that bridge, I guess, is the expression I was looking for. We do have Street Wraith as an extra cycle looking for that land. It looks like we're playing the combo mirror against the deck that is admittedly a little bit more favored. Alright, so cycle Horror of the Broken Lands. Okay, no land. There we go. But now we don't have an extra cycler, so we're going to play the star. Can our opponent turn to us? They're definitely favored, as I mentioned. Shatterstorm is just a faster deck, which, you know, I'm not trying to sell any narrative that Cyclestorm is a better deck. It's just my favorite Pauper deck. And there's a reason that this one is on everyone's ban watch. All right, Carabid. Is this a turn where I should be trying to win? Probably. So let's just see how far we can go, I suppose. Cycle this Carabid. We're looking for a Reaping the Graves. Guess I can just cycle this. 7 cards. We can just cast these Cabal Writs. Cycle Healer. Okay. Play a star. Cycle. I guess it's not a cycle, it's a draw. Need an action. That's not good. Do I want to give up Cabal Ritual? I feel like I have to. Okay. Really need to get lucky here. Not looking good. We hit the Reaping the Graves, but we have next to no mana. So we're like, I'm still just not in a good spot here. We're gonna try to do the same trick that we did in match number 1, where I just cycle with a whole bunch of draws on the stack, trying to hit that that songs. So cycle. It didn't work. Cycle. I'm gonna let this resolve. Take the draw off the Street Wraith. Cycle. Pretty much songs are bust, and we hit. Okay. I guess we can cycle here. Cycle this. Another Reaping the Graves, okay. Need more mana, though. That's what we need, badly. Okay. We're halfway through our deck. We need another songs. All right, I'm going to let the rest of these resolve. Unfortunately, this is actually a spot where not having... the other swamp is in the graveyard, too. Not having Lotus Petal is actually a big issue. So we have a land drop, but our other swamp is in the graveyard. So if we didn't, I could Tolarian Winds, Reaping the Graves, the trick from game number 1. But instead, I need to hit mana off these cycles. Kind of a tall ask. I could also just Tolarian Winds right now and draw 6 fresh cards. And just accept that we're down 1 copy of Reaping the Graves. We have 2 Dark Rituals and 1 Cabal Ritual left in the deck. We used that Dark Ritual. So we have 1 Dark Ritual, 1 Cabal Ritual, 3 copies of Songs. 27 cards. 2 copies of Reaping the Graves as well. I think I'm supposed to just cycle here and not Tolarian Winds. Okay. Cycle again. Alright, I'm a coward. I'm gonna Tolarian Winds and pray. Okay, so we hit the songs, but now we don't have... Like, we can cycle the Drannith Stinger, but that's it. Okay, let's cycle Stinger, I guess. We have to pass the turn. That's a bummer. So close. And now our opponent's going to easily kill us. Yep. Alright, so they've sacked their crevice. We're definitely dead here. That, and like, they only need a storm count of 4 to go first day of class, Chatterstorm kill you, so it should be pretty easy for our opponent here. Okay, so they've cycled Manamorphose, there's first day, and then just Chatterstorm is lethal. Okay. Ritual, sure. Let's cast Chatterstorm, I'll concede. Morphos, sure. Heat Bog. They're using the green, and there's the Chatterstorm. Alright, so we went for it. We didn't get there in the combo mirror. It happens. But now we're going to the post board, where we do have 3 copies of Duress to potentially slow the opponent down. I don't know how effective they're going to be. You could board in Weather. I just don't know how much I like that, because you're diluting your deck on your combo turn. I just don't think that's, the greatest thing. So what do you board out in order to make room for duress? Honestly, it has to be cyclers. Everything else is so crucial, which is why I don't even necessarily like boarding in duress, but the time that it buys you is just so valuable. So, um, yeah. And I think it's actually supposed to be Horror of the Broken Lands because they're the only creatures that have a restriction on how they cycle. So everything else can be used off either land, including Monstrous Carabid, where Horror, it's black mana only. So we're going to board those out for the duress. There's hope for the best at this point. Okay. Sure. Need to cycle into a black land, but I don't think I'm supposed to mulligan this. Hey, Crevice Pass. Alright, so let's see if we can hit a land here. Cycle. Nope. Okay. Are. Do we feel like we're pressured to try to win now? That's the question. I can attempt to win. Um, I just don't know how good that's actually going to be. I think we probably have to try. Let's use up that green mana, cycle the healer. Okay. Cycle the healer again. Alright, I like chaining the creatures. More creatures is good. Cycle. Okay. I only have Storm 2. So I think we're supposed to cycle Stinger, go down to 1 mana, and then Song. Right? Storm 3. Do I want to burn a black mana to return another creature? I think the answer is probably no. I think I'm supposed to just accept that we only have Storm 4 and then try to hit a blue mana so that way we can Tolarian Winds off the second Reaping the Graves. Alright, so cycle Street Wraith. I guess I'm supposed to cycle here. Okay. Cycle, cycle. Draw. Cycle. We have to hit songs. Alright, so that gives us one more look by hitting the swamp. And that is it. I guess I can duress pass. I don't need to concede. Their hand is honestly not very good. I think I just take the duress here. Okay. So we maybe have some time to rebuild. Opponent's hand is very clunky. Are they going for it? It looks like they could be. Another dark red. Okay. I guess if they had a first day of class, I'm just dead. So that's a reason to go for it because of the dark ritual draw. Sign in blood. Okay. Could just be Chatterstorm plus relay here. Or weather plus relay. All right, so they chose Chatter. So if they're going to lead on Chatterstorm, I mean, if they wanted to, they could not relay and then have a two turn clock. I don't know if that's better or worse, but it's just an option. And they're representing lethal on their turn now. So we would have to hit a ritual of some sort here to even stay alive. All right. Wraith. Wrong kind of ritual. I can't cast that one. So I guess I just try to hit the other Chatterstorm here and keep them off of killing me. Played the Baron more. Okay. So they have 2 Chatterstorms left in their deck. Need to just fade them drawing one. Alright. Sign in Blood. Or I'm sorry, that's Night's Whisper. So they still have the Sign in Blood in their hand, if I remember correctly. Maybe that's not accurate. Star, okay. 2 mana. Right, Night's Whisper. Bright of Flame. They could have it here. First day of class, maybe looting. Storm's 8, so if they have Chatterstorm, it's lethal. I mean, it's been lethal, let's be honest. They still have that Duress floating in exile too, so even if they fizzle here, they can Duress us and then just attack. Okay, so they played a Peat Bog. So they're just going to gain a bunch of life. They chose that over the Duress, which is kind of interesting. So we have likely enough. That was a bad draw. We likely have one more turn after this. Unless they sign and blood us for exactly 7, which would be kind of cute. I think I'm supposed to just cycle. Alright, please don't sign and blood me for lethal. Alright, so squirrels will put me to 2. Duress. Alright, so they should probably take Reaping the Graves. Yep. It's gonna be a tall ask to win this one. The draw. Let's just start on the free thing, which is casting Cabal Ritual. Let's make a blue, draw a card. Cycle. Cycle. Yeah. Okay, so now can we cast Tolarian Winds into Song, or into Reaping the Graves? Yes is apparently the answer. It's only for 4, so we're not out of this yet. We would need some more luck in order to win this one. Okay. Cycle. I just keep cycling. So a choice I have here is I could play Chromatic Star and then filter for white into Drannith Healer. Try to stay alive a little bit longer. I just fear that I won't be able to actually win the game if I take that line. Am I playing to win or am I playing to stay alive? How many songs have I used? 1, 2. I still have 2 songs left in the deck. Just don't know. Alright, I think I'm going to play to stay alive here. Got a white. Okay. Drannith Healer. Cycle this. Okay. Cycle. Alright, so now I can block and stay alive this turn. Play land, play star. Okay. We have ourselves a game. I can't remember the last time I've cast a Drannith Healer. And we're doing it in the combo mirror right now. It's kind of funny. Block. We're going to take 4 and go to 2. So if I play Stinger, I think I'm probably just supposed to start on this. I wanted to play Stinger as a blocker, but also part of my win con to save me stuff later. But if I play it now, I can't cycle. So I needed to draw a cycler off that. And I have to cycle the Stinger. Alright. Star. Black. This is not good. Okay, so now I can Reaping the Grapes for 3. Stinger. I think I just get back Stingers here. And if I cast 1, they swing, I take 2, I go to 1. Okay. Oh no! Oh, no, I did the math correctly. Okay, sorry. I had a split second where I thought I was going to 0. No, this is correct. So I would go to 1 if they swing out. Okay. That's the turn. They still have 2 Chatterstorms in their deck and 2 copies of First Day of Class. We're not home free yet. 4 cards in hand. Uh-oh. That's summoning? Okay. Yep. So wonder what I'm supposed to do here. I think I'm supposed to cycle the Stinger to start. Need to hit another cycler. Did not hit. Do I cycle this Street Wraith because it's only 1? Like it's a difference of 1 life, but I could potentially hit more cyclers. Do it. Okay. No. I just put myself dead. I mean, I knew that it was a possibility when I cycled. Um, yeah, we're dead. That was an interesting match, though, for sure. That was a lot of fun. A little more competitive than I expected. So, 1-1, not the end of the world. Let's just try to, get the next one. Match number 3. All right, so this is another one of those Wonderlanders where we really want land number 2. I mean, Double Songs of the Damned is pretty broken. We have 2 Street Wraiths, so, I mean, they're at least Black Rite of Flames. Let's see what we can do here. No clue what our opponent plays. I haven't been looking up our opponents on Goldfish this league. Trying to just play blind and, figure out what I'm supposed to do from there. All right, so probably fairies. Beardane, yep. 2 to the top. All right, so next turn I can cycle the Street Wraiths. I don't really want to reveal them yet. All right, so they foretold Into the Multiverse, which is fine. Let's cycle these to start. We're really looking for that second land. Okay, no land. Uh, just cycle. Darn. Discard Vantasaur. I doubt our opponent's going to tap out. If they do, we would potentially have a window, but I don't know why they would do that. So I think our plan is to just keep on cycling, looking for land. Okay, cycle. Multiverse. Yep. Or behold the multiverse, my bad. I think I'm actually supposed to discard the Tolarian Winds here. I'm not trying to play towards the big action. I'm trying to just like hit my lands and stuff. So I think the Chrome Star is a little bit more valuable than this, and I don't really want to get rid of my mana. Spiriting. They still have a land drop here as well. Delver. Still 1 mana up. I mean, I could try to resolve songs here. I don't think it's going to resolve, though. I think that they probably have Dispel. Who's the Damned? And Dispel. Yep. All right. So, I mean, it was a shot that I had at potentially winning. It's just like these Delver decks right now, or these Fairy decks, they're all the same thing. But they're so tuned to beat combo now that they have things like main deck Dispel, and it's just really good against us. Echoing Decay, sure. Tapping out. What is this? Oh, okay, so we have another window this turn. Let's see what we can do. So it's worth noting that we have to burn the songs to start. I don't love that, but it is what it is. Our opponent gave us the window to win. Let's just take it. Let's cycle here. Cycle. Cycle. Need mana. Okay. I can add a blue. I can go get the other songs, but then we're only going to have 1 to win, which is a little sketchy. Stinger. And still cycle. So we have 6 mana. I can go down to 5 for the teaching, so I'm going to cycle this as well. Right, now I have to go get the other Songs of the Damned. So I'm only going to have 1 songs left after this. Yikes. Storm is 6. I'm wondering if I want to cycle this Vantasaur. Probably not. I don't know. I guess I could hit like a Dark Ritual or something. Fear is actually pretty good. Okay, I'm going to add a red here. I was really hoping for a ritual. All right, now we have to do this. So it's better to target Stinger on the first one because that's the last one that returns, and then we'll get streets back to start. For the same reasons as the first 2 rounds where you can cycle them with the triggers on the stack. And the other Stinger. Okay. So praying to just hit that last Songs of the Damned cycle. Now I'm in an interesting spot because I could just Chrome Star for blue and then Tolarian Winds the rest, and I don't hate that. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do here. I guess I probably should have cycled that first. Yeah, that didn't make a difference. So let's cycle this Chrome Star for blue. Okay, so we can actually mystical teachings for the last songs now, if that's what we'd like to do. If I do that, I will have a red floating so I can play 1 Stinger, and then we have to win off of 4 cyclers from 20 life. I think it's probably my best shot. Only making 8 mana. Oh my. I'm gonna need to get pretty lucky to win this. Alright. Cycle, cycle, cycle. We're gonna need the perfect mixture of mana and cyclers. Okay. All Ritual's a good one. Okay. I guess I didn't need to cast it there. I could have just cycled as low as I could have gone, but oh well. Alright, Vantasaur. Okay. So that can get back a bunch of street rates. Might as well cycle this, I suppose, see if I can hit another ritual. Hey. Alright. Miracles can happen. Let's see if we can finish this off now. We're going to have 7 mana floating. We have some street wraiths in here. This might be doable. Okay. And just whatever. Okay, so we're gonna start on the street wraiths because if we hit a Chrome Star, we might be able to play another Stinger to deal some extra damage. One Chrome Star left in the deck. So, like I said, we're gonna start on the street wraiths. We can just auto yield to that. Okay. No star. That's a healer. Okay, so we have 7 mana. Our opponent's at 12. We do need to hit some rituals in order to win this. Another Stinger. There's a Dark Ritual. Okay. So that's 2 more cycles. We have 7 mana. We're 3 mana off from winning. Do we have a Cabal Ritual left? Because that would just win the game. I'm not even going to bother looking. I'm just going to cycle and pray, I guess. No other choice. Cycle. Reaping the Graves doesn't help me here. Come on. So Cabal Ritual's down. Guess I could find out if I'm dead or not. 2 Cabal Rituals. There's a Cabal Rit. We didn't have a Cabal Ritual we were cycling to. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. So I guess our next draw could be exactly the 4th copy of Dark Ritual. I think we're actually just like mathematically dead here. Miracles don't exist. It was all a sham. Alright, so we came up just short of winning this game, unfortunately. And I'm just going to say my opponent the attack step and concede here. See what our next few draws were, if it will let me. Yeah, we didn't have any mana coming either. I don't know if there's any even left. Let's see. This is just the easiest way of telling. So we did have the 1 Dark Ritual, but even if we hit the Dark Rit, we would have needed 1 more mana. So I would have needed to draw the Chrome Star pretty much way earlier on. Is the 4th card or the 4th star, so we could play another Stinger to deal lethal. We just didn't hit it. It's fine. All right, so now let's just focus on winning these post-board games. So I like land 13 just for extra consistency, along with the protection spells. And traditionally, I like boarding out some of these blue cards. I just feel like they're kind of mana intensive and they require you to win big. So that's why I don't mind boarding them out. And then I usually board out some cyclers. I do like Exhume. I realize that I'm boarding in a lot of cards now, but those are also cards that I like. In the past, I've done this thing where because I'm boarding an Exhume, I can board out Chrome Star because we're not trying to mana fix anymore into blue. So you can board out your stars because Exhumes can also bring back Stinger on the combo turn. And then you have to find 1 more card to take out. And it's usually a cycler for me. And Healer's kind of the worst one in this matchup, so I don't mind boarding that out. And that is my combo plan. You're sort of going back to like the Unearth builds with this sideboard plan almost. Sure, let's try it. Okay. Travis, go. If we drew, ooh, relic, kind of tough. Just pass then. Their best card against us. So I guess the game plan now becomes just like hard cast big fatties. Part of me wants to just kill the Delver to buy time. Okay. Let's see what they're working with. Chainer's Edict. So that one's actually kind of an issue if our game plan becomes to pivot into beating them down with a Horror of the Broken Lands. Yeah, I think I have to take the Chainers. You can eat a grass. Yep. So they can Ponder plus Augur this turn, or they can Augur plus Leave Open Relic. They should probably not auto yield. Sure. They're giving us the window. Okay. I think I need to try to take this. So I'm going to cycle the Carabid. And we do it. The Songstress doesn't make enough mana. I think it's kind of free to cycle the Vantasaur here. Oh no. So this would be 2 mana plus 4. That's only 4 mana. Womp womp. Just gonna play Vent Pass. Okay, so our opponent's definitely in the favored position at this point. I guess we could like try to draw Exhume. Portal, okay. So they played an island. So they still have Ash Barrens and one unknown. Let's see if the Cabal Ritual resolves, I guess. Songs, do they care about a songs for 2? Alright, they do not. And I think I'm going to hang on to this Baron more for cycling. Alright, our opponent's 2 lands away from flashing back this Chainer's Edict. I have to keep that in mind. Our spell, okay. Can have a Reaping the Reaping the Graves. There we go. I said it correctly. Okay, so counter spell. Like I said, only 2 lands away from flashing back the Chainer's Edict. Draw. Okay, so that was actually a pretty good draw. Because it gives us something to sack to Chainer's Edict. We snuck it underneath counter spell. You know, obviously deals a little bit of extra damage. Cycle this Baron more, try to, you know, sneak in a few extra. Auto yield. Can have my land. That was a very good draw. Okay. The games tonight have been fairly good so far, despite us, you know, being 1-1 down a game and our opponent having a relic. Like, all of these games have been fairly competitive, I feel like. Okay, so they still need a second Black Source Augur. Ooh, that's backbreaking, because now they can kill the Stinger. And now another swamp unlocks this Chainer's Edict. Okay. No point in playing the Stinger into their counterspell, so I'm just going to attack. They wisely blocked. Hmm. Do I think that... I don't know if I want to... I don't know. Like, them having counterspell up, just... I don't think it's wise to play the Stinger into it. And I could, like, hardcast Reaping the Graves, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Cycling doesn't make a whole lot of sense there. Okay, they're taking the draw. Preordain. Augur. Okay. So I think I'm going to try to Reaping the Graves here. To try to get them to eat their own Trainer's Edict. Okay. So that worked out. So Trainer's Edict is gone. We know that our opponent has Counterspell and 2 Unknowns in hand. They found Cast Down. That's a bummer. So their last card is Counterspell. Jeez. We're pretty much dead here. So I mean, this is like kind of a tall ask. I think we could win this if we found like Exhume off this cycle. That's like kind of slim. Bummer. Okay. And another Chainer's Edict. Okay. We never stood a shot. They had it the whole time. We got bodied. And we are now 1-2. Wump wump. We're back for match number 4 and on the play. Alright, this hand seems fine. Once again, we're just looking to hit land number 2. We did add a land, so that is one benefit of this list is that we're playing 12 lands instead of 11. So maybe we'll hit. We also have the Street Wreath for an extra look. This hand's definitely fine. Okay. Fairmore go. Like another fairy type deck. And it is actually fairies this time, unlike our previous opponent, who was on Delver. Okay. Cycle Street Wraith. Right, no land there. We could Dark Ritual into triple cycle. That is an option. Let's do it. It just gives us the greatest opportunity to hit our second land. Okay, cycle. No lands. And we're passing. So cards we have to worry about right now are Spellstutter Sprite. It's definitely a concern, but we just really need to cycle into lands. So, all right, so they're going to put Ninja in. Theoretically, this could have been an opening if had we hit a land last turn, but not the end of the world. So Dark Ritual cycle gives us 7. We could try to win right now. All right, I guess we're going for it. Cycles card number 7. Okay. Cycle this. We really just need more mana. Cabal Ritual is a terrific draw. How many creatures are even in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm leaving 1 creature, but I'm saving a mana. I think I probably want to cycle. Take the risk. Okay. I'm going to hang on to that. Use the trick that we've been doing. Use that Songs of the Damned to just make a little bit of extra mana. Okay. Cycle. Cycle, cycle, cycle. I think I'm actually going to eat the red mana here, just so I can get the maximum out of what we're trying to do. Okay. Well, here. All right, so now I have the songs. Cycle again. We can play that swamp untapped. Cycle. Call Ritual is terrific. Deck's very mana hungry. Okay. The last one. So we could look to play Chromatic Star here, but once again, I think we just want to hit more mana. That's the big thing. So by playing out Drannith Stinger, you're losing 3 mana. And it's just a little bit risky. So you're losing 1 mana to convert into red, and then you're losing 2 to cast it, which leaves you with not a whole lot. So so we have 9 mana. That would bring us down to 6 mana. 3 mana post Reaping the Grave. So you'd have 5 cycles, really 4 because you need 1 floating. So I think it's just sort of a mistake to actually cast this Stinger. Okay, that was actually very good. So we can do the trick where we put Tolarian Winds on the stack. Cycle here. How many stars do we have? 1. So we'll have 1 star left, so we have to win off 1 creature if I don't play this out. I think I should probably play it. So I have to hit these songs off this, or a Dark Ritual. Okay. Just return a bunch of creatures. Make sure to not double click any of them because you want the maximum number that you can possibly return. Okay. Bring them all back. Okay. Draw 14 cards. No songs. And only a single Dark Ritual in there. That is very scary. 15 cards left. There's 3 songs in the bottom of the deck. But I think I'm supposed to try to convert this star. Okay. Cycle. Alright, so now we have to use the red mana. That draw 14 didn't get there. That's kind of shocking. So you might be thinking, well, Bryant, you could have actually cycled triple Street Wraith before the Tolarian Winds resolved, and that's true. The problem with taking that line is that if you draw when you're Reaping the Graves, you're now less likely to win because you have to discard that Reaping the Graves to the Tolarian Winds. So there's some give and take there, and we had triple songs, but only 2 Reaping the Graves, so it definitely could have punished you. We just didn't happen to hit. So now we're just trying to hit off this single cycle. We have some hits. I don't know the exact math here, but we failed. I'm gonna cycle this. All right, so we have 11 cards left. It's gonna be really tough. Okay, discard a bunch of lands. Okay. And I think that game, or this game, and actually we lost that one match by a single mana as well. So we've seen a couple of the choke points this league of not having Lotus Petal. So it is a cost that we're paying at the moment by playing Chromatic Star instead. I just want to point that out. The 1 mana has really mattered a few times. So I know we're still a couple matches left to play, or well, 1 more match left to play after this. So it's not completely free to just swap Lotus Petal with Chromatic Star, which is what I'm finding. Okay, so they're going to draw a card off Ninja. Okay. I think we just play a land pass. On their turn, we can cycle. Are they considering playing out a spell stutter? Is that what's happening here? They're going to attack for 3, and we're going to go to 5. So on their end step, if they flashed in double spell stutter, we would be dead. Yep. They have 8 cards, and they're just going to choose to pass, which makes sense. And now we have to get very lucky in order to cycle. I don't even know if we can win this now. All of our songs are just in the bottom of our deck. That is variant sometimes. Cool. Cool. Right. I imagine that these are both going to be countered. Yep. Okay. Unfortunate. We went really deep that game into our deck. We just never like 3 of our songs were in the bottom 7 cards of our deck. Not a whole lot I could have done about that. That's just like very, very bad variance. But chin up, let's just try to control what we can and win, the post board games. I'm gonna use the same board plan as round number 3. I don't actually want to board in the shredded sails. The relic that our opponent had last match, usually only a 1 of, sometimes a 2 of. So I don't want to read too much into that. Get rid of these blue cards, home stars, and let's just try to play some good honest magic. Reanimate a large creature attack, disrupt a little bit. Can't keep that. Sure. I mean, I don't love this hand, but it's fine. One is deliberating on their 7. Looks like they shipped as well. So the problem with reanimating Monstrous Carabid is that it's a red card, so it can be hit by Hydroblast. Hydroblast. That was correct. So you really want to reanimate Horror of the Broken Lands and not Carabid, just because like they naturally board in answers for it anyway, which is just like not great for us. Unless they're like, even if they're mono blue, they have that. So really, you want to get the card that's harder for them to beat. There's also builds of this deck that play more blue, and then you could cycle into the Hexproof 5/5, which is just very, very good against them. But as you saw in our last round, sometimes these decks play just edicts, and the edict gets around that. They put 2 on top. That's scary. Okay, we're going to cycle here. See if we can hit a tap land. Wrong tap land deck. So I'm just going to cycle the Carabid and pass. I want to hang on to these stress for a crucial turn. Okay, Songs is fine, I guess. One is probably just holding open Spell Stutter. Or they're going to ninja here. They're ninjaing, okay. Not going for it. I say that and then I drew that. I still think it's wrong to go for it this turn. I'm going to cycle. Okay. Pass. We just don't have enough going on to go for it. They're going to get that value off the ninja. They're just going to hold open counter magic here. I think I just want to cycle. Find something for this Exhume. And I'm going to pass. There's no need to play Duress into their Spell Stutter Sprite. Especially when they're drawing 2 cards a turn and they might be forced to discard or play something. The classic Brainstorm plus Terramorphic stance. Love it. Okay. blue-black as well. You don't really see a whole lot of blue-red anymore. Like, it exists, it's just not nearly as popular as to me. Blue-black having Echoing Decay is just like really big game against Chatterstorm combo, which makes sense. So it being 1 mana less, you know, just and very versatile as well. There's Fairy. Okay. When it's passing. I think I need to cycle this. We need, you know, the sack lands, the ones that make red. Okay. I'm trying here. Pretty deep into the deck. I guess it's a land. Storm, okay. Almost a third of the way through our deck at this point. On the bottom with Preordain. So we're going to take 3 going to 9. We could probably start a fight over, like, Songs of the Damned or something. Problem is if they're just, like, sitting on Spell Stutter and they choose not to interact with the rest, we can never resolve the songs. I'm discarded 2. Let's see if they interact with the duress here. And if they don't, we can just cycle Carabid looking for a land. Yeah, they're just sitting on a bunch of Spell Stutters. This would have been a really good turn to draw. Well, I guess the previous turn would have been a good turn to draw the red source because we could force through these songs and then Pyroblast the Spell Stutter. That's just not the case here. Yeah, and I talked about this a little bit today with Alex Ullman about how Pyroblast is really the only card that you can play in this format to answer Spell Stutter Spray from a combo perspective, and it really limits your deck building. And here we're choked on red and we're just being punished for it. Ugh. I think I have to pass. Something I could have done, I suppose, is like try to exhume, see if they'll bite on the counterspell there that turn, but then you only have 3 mana for songs after Reaping the Graves, which is just like not very probable. Now our opponent just has infinite counters this turn. Yeah, we're not going to be able to beat triple counter. This doesn't matter. Okay. I mean, I might be able to trick them here into letting songs resolve. It's going to be tough. Take the Dispel. Try to exhume. Yeah, there's no reason why they would counter that. And now they just have counterspell for our song. Yeah. The 2 Pyroblasts rotted in our hand this game. Okay, not the end of the world. These fairy type decks have always been sort of an issue for Cycle Storm. That hasn't changed. Yeah, is what it is. Let's just see if we can get this 5th one. Alright, the 5th and final round. Let's at least see if I can get my pity 50 play points back. Sure. So, like, I know that this list, or this league might look bad in the fact that we're 1-3 right now, but the matches have been pretty interesting, and I think that 2 of them might have been wins had we had Petal in our deck. So we're definitely seeing the difference between Chromatic Star and Lotus Petal. So if Aaron Forsythe moves forward with the fact that Lotus Petal might be too good for Pauper, it's going to make me reconsider this, how this deck is at least currently constructed. Maybe something like Unearth becomes a lot better if Lotus Petal isn't an option, and I could start looking once again at Unearth builds. Okay, Sulfur Vent. I haven't really played the Unearth build since I started playing Pauper. I was initially pretty unimpressed with them, but really liked Lotus Petal, but maybe those are just the best thing you can be doing if Petal's not an option. That, or you look to change your mana base to play Manamorphose instead. I don't know, because like Manamorphose is pretty comparable, I think. Looks like our opponent's just on black aggro. And I could always look at the build that I played last time, but maybe change some things around. Maybe a basic mountain in there, for example, so that way there's a red source in the deck you can draw to. I'm just talking out loud here about possibilities. Okay. Look out getting in there. Got it. Yeah. My good friend Mike Noble is a big fan of the deck our opponent's playing. Mono Black Rogue Burn, think it's called. I'm not sure, but I know that Mikey plays it. Here's Chromatic Star. I think we're supposed to just keep cycling. Just try to hit a land drop, and then win next turn. Let's cycle the Dino. Wraith for a land? No land. Okay. So we're going to pass here, reevaluate next turn whether or not we want to try to go for it, or possibly wait a turn. So we're taking 2 off the lookout, going to 11. There's another lookout. Okay. So we're going to 11. Next turn, our opponent has 5 damage. So our opponent could burn us out next turn. That is within the realm of possibility. We'd be at 6. The problem with going off here is that I actually just don't have threshold for these Cabal rituals. I think I'm supposed to wait a turn. Free to start on this. Of course I draw a Dark Ritual. And it's awkward because the Sulfur Vent sacks for the 2 colors. Am I supposed to go for it here? I don't think I am. Maybe that's foolish. I guess we're dead to like bump in the night plus another one of these. There's also one of these that makes you lose 4, so we're dead to bump plus another burn spell. Or I guess like two mana burn spells does it as well. I guess maybe I can try to go for it. Cycle. Cycle. Alright, Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Cycle this healer. Was it a draw? Let's use the Chrome Star first so that way we can see if we draw into another creature before I cycle this. Draw. Perfect draw. Okay. So we can do the Tolarian Winds trick here. Full control. And then Reaping the Graves. Alright. Target our creatures. And I did not target Street Wraith, which doesn't really matter because we're going to discard our entire hand anyway. I'm not planning on cycling. Just because I don't really want to discard like Songs of the Damned. Like I don't want to draw into a Songs or Reaping the Graves here. Like I'm fine with just discarding these and seeing what I draw. 9 new ones. Okay. That was a pretty good wheel. I'm going to try to draw the maximum number of cards before using this Songs. We also had another Reaping the Graves. It's just beautiful. Okay, another Star. Stinger. Land for turn. Stinger. I'm sorry, that's a healer. Words are tough. Cycle this dino. Okay, so that changes things a little bit. I was looking at using Tolarian Winds with Reaping the Graves, and then we drew the other one. A little bit awkward. I think I'm going to cycle this Baron more, looking to hit another creature. Did. Yeah. Just trying to get further into our deck. Okay, I'm going to use this for a red, because I guess it doesn't matter. I was thinking that I could get another draw in before, or another cycle in, but I can't. Just the way that the mana works, that's not how things align. So, just, return some creatures. Create rates are pretty valuable here, so let's click on those. Or the broken lands are always great. And then we can just start from the bottom. Make sure I hit that stinger. Carabid. They are at 25, so we're going to have to deal a little bit of extra damage. It looks like I might have fizzled one there by misclicking. Okay, cycle. Something like a snuff out could kill the stinger here if they have one. Their stinger. Okay. We're at 9. I don't think that this deck has any sort of free burn. I don't think that exists, but I could always be wrong. Cycle the Carabid. I should have played Stinger there. That was a mistake on my part. Just lost 1 point of damage. Okay. Make red. I mean, this Songs of the Damned draw also likely just like sealed it up, but I did lose 1 free damage there. I committed to a line in my head before actually looking at what I drew and got, not really punished, but improper play. Cycle. Okay. This is the fun part, just knowing your opponent's dead and having to go through it. Cycle, cycle, cycle. I'm just going to cast this now. Maybe they'll concede to Songs. Okay. We're just going to have to do the last 5 cycles. Not a big deal. Okay. One more after this. Alright, so we got game number 1 over Black Rogues, I guess you would call it. It's like pretty much like a Blackburn deck. We could board in Weather. Weather actually seems fairly decent. And then maybe board out Street Wraith just because you don't really want to lose life. Maybe keep 1 for the combo turn. Then board in Geothermal Crevice, maybe over a Barrenmoor. Let's try that. I like having 2 basics, which I know it's like weird to some of you and you're pretty adamant about only having 1. But just like randomly finding the basic land on your combo turn for the extra cycle is really nice. Maybe in that Rite of Flame / Manamorphose build, you could run 1 mountain and 1 swamp. It's something to think about, so that way you have the opportunity to do 1 of each. I definitely want to revisit that build at some point. Just because I feel like Star here was a little bit awkward. Okay. I think that this is a keep, but it's pretty slow. We want to draw a land immediately and then rituals. When I went to 5 cards. Okay, so they're keeping their 5. We might just be looking for like an early discard spell. Look out again. Not a land or a ritual, even though I love you, Drannith Stinger. You're not what I need right now. Okay. So the early drops have come out, and yeah. They only have 2 cards left in hand, so I think we have a little bit of time here. Star. Okay. Just gonna look for a land. Maybe discard 4. I'm not sure. Like, it could have been right to discard a star there. Sure. Okay. The life total is dropping. I think I'm going to play a star here. That way, if I don't draw a land, I get 2 looks next turn. Duress. That hurts. So they're probably going to take Reaping the Graves here, I imagine. Songs of the Damned. Okay. That's also a choice. Alright, so our opponent's going to have 3 cards in hand. One of them is a swamp. Yeah, the Songs isn't a terrible choice. Definitely respectable. Okay, so we hit a land, that's good. I think I'm going to just play a star here. Trying to save the weather. So we're going to take 3, go to 6. If our opponent has 2 burn spells in their hand, we're dead. But not a whole lot I could have done about it this game. Choking Sands. Wasn't expecting that. Maybe I should have been. I don't know. So we're at 4. Our opponent doesn't have lethal next turn, but it's very likely that they have a burn spell. At least 1. For this turn, they would have needed 2. Hell Spellbomb. Okay. We're definitely going to be tough to win this one. I go for a red? Or I guess a white? See if I could potentially play a healer. Okay. Let's just go to the next one. I guess I'm supposed to board in Shredded Sails here. I don't really want to, though. Like, that's just not a card I'm super interested in. One thing I could do is board out these blue cards, though, and bring in the Exhumes to just give me a little bit of flexibility. Let's do that. Okay. Opposite problems. Too many manas. But we're going to try it. Opponent mulligans to 5 again. Now to 4. Oh, wow. Alright, I would really like to not lose to the mull at 4. It could just be hard mulling for the spell bomb. And if that's the case, we can just look to beat down. Okay, so they've kept 4. Ideally, one of these would have been Geothermal Crevice, so I could just cast the Stinger on curve. Barrenmore, okay. Another Ritual is honestly not very desirable. Like, Songs of the Damned is obviously a great card, but we need Cyclers here, or other cards that do things. And if I had drawn Horror of the Broken Lands that turn, I think I would have hardcast it. Okay. Cube combo, now they can cycle the Barrenmore to convert it into a card. I like that. And I think we're going to cycle our Barrenmore. I want to keep the Stinger for now. Another more. Alright, so this Chrome Star will allow us next turn to convert the Stinger into play. I'm going to cycle this now. So I guess the bright side here is that if our opponent casts Duress, they're hitting the same card, effectively. They chose to replay the Barrymore instead of Psych. Which I think means that they might have a Choking Sands in their hand. Another Lookout, okay. They're passing. Yikes. Too many rituals. Let's add a red so I don't have to sacrifice the Sulfur Vent to cast the Stinger. Ooh. So we're going to play both creatures here and become a beatdown deck. I love beating down with Horror of the Broken Land. Okay. We'll find out who is the real aggro deck. Is it the Rogues or the Horror Wizard Tribal deck? Okay. They still have 3 cards in hand. Honestly, their 3 cards in hand are probably better than ours. Ours don't do anything. Interesting. Is there a trick that I'm missing here? I guess I'll find out. Guess we're finding out whatever that trick is. Village Rites was a hit. Okay. I guess Village Rites makes sense in this rated Scorpion deck. Alright, let's get in there. They're probably going to block Horrified, I guess. Yep. And I'm going to just hang on to this Vantasaur for opponent on their Mold of 5 is now up to 5 cards in hand. Another Market Lookout. I don't care about your Spell Bomb. I'm an aggro deck. Another Horror. Okay. I am going to cast that. Our opponent has a high enough life total where I think they probably should have taken these early hits from Horror and then maybe, crack back since I'm at a mid to low life total here and then make me respect their creatures a little bit more, but instead I'm just like abyssing them every single turn, which puts me really far ahead. Opponent is on 4 cards. Still a pretty high life total. Blood, okay. Another Scorpion. Take a draw, Reaping the Graves. Okay, so let's get in there. They're probably going to block 1 and cycle. That'll yield to this. And the Dino. Not another cycler, unfortunately. Yep. Play a land and pass. Tie ball game, 12-12. Okay, so now they're going to 10, which is lethal. We have 10 damage on board, so they have to play at least a blocker here. Okay, another Scorpion. Sure. I could cast Reaping the Graves to try to get back the Dino. I just don't really see the point. Weather the Storm is not usable right now. So we're not in the clear yet. Our opponent could theoretically just deal us 10 points of burn. That is something that could happen here. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but like bump, bump, and then the deal 4 spell kill us. And having all sulfur vents could bite me in the buns. Do you have it? Am I getting burned out? Okay, so that is not how you start winning, at least from my perspective. Okay, so village rights. So they could go land, double burn spell. But that's not lethal, so I think we're going to get to untap. I think that they're just looking for blockers. Okay, so that puts them to 9. 9 is 1 point short of lethal. Of not being lethal. We have 10 damage in play. They're going to target us with Spellbomb. I need to use the Reaping the Graves here just to get back the 1 Dino, because that guarantees lethal. Okay, I can F6. They're drawing a card off the Spellbomb, which is interesting. Do they have a land drop? I don't know if they do. Okay, let's just get in there, I suppose. Crash. And cycle. Cycle again for good measure. Here's all the cyclers in our deck. Ooh, overkill. Okay. So we are going to 2-3 this league and get 50 whole play points back. Let's go look at the deck list again. So I think that there was definitely the one match we lost by a single mana where Chromatic Star not being Petal was the difference maker. There was also a couple games against those blue decks where I feel like these not being Petals really hurt me. So maybe the Unearth builds are better in a world where Lotus Petal isn't legal. I know that some people play the Unearth builds already for budget reasons, primarily because of Lotus Petal is a very expensive Magic the Gathering card, and I completely get that. Some people think that the Unearth builds are just better in general. Those people are welcome to their opinions, and they could be right. But I'm someone that tends to like the Lotus Petal builds. I'm not sure if Chromatic Star is where we want to be. I don't think I have the other build that I recorded with 3 months ago in my Moto account, or unfortunately, the build with Rite of Flame and Manamorphose, but that could be a build that we look at once again, potentially with swapping some of the lands around. I'm not sure. Let me know if you have any thoughts, other than the fact that you might not like Cycling Storm. I don't know. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Take care, keep storming, and have a great day. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.